Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Adam Williams.
And I'm Ashley Muckenhop.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain irrational optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams. I was late.
Yeah,
We made it this long without it happening. It was bound to happen.
It was gonna happen.
But awesome show today. Gonna be an awesome show.
Yes.
Did you see the news?
No, I didn't.
We made it.
Oh, the Inc.
We did it.
Yes, I did. Okay, yes.
We have an Inc. 5000 law firm.
How long
in
were
Erie,
we trying?
freaking Pennsylvania, that serves small business and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We freaking did it. Am I allowed to say that on the radio?
Yeah.
All right.
I've been trying to do
We did
that.
it.
Yes.
We did it.
Yes.
I literally called this shot in college.
Yeah.
I know you did a great run of show, but I'm too pumped up about this.
No, it's fine.
I was sitting in a public speaking class at Penn State Barron, and at the time I had two different paint crews painting houses around Erie for me. So I'm sitting in a college class making money. And I got up in that class and said, one of my goals is to make the Inc. 5000 list.
Nice.
Took me longer than I expected. That was 25 years ago. 20 years ago. But we did it.
We did it.
One of the fastest growing privately held companies in America.
That's amazing.
In Erie, Pennsylvania.
In America, people.
And there are 3 or 4 or 5 companies in Erie that have done this.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of them and I love what they do. But we did it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
What are we gonna do to celebrate? Can
I brought
we go to karaoke?
I brought a drink. I brought a drink to celebrate. It's an energy drink.
Oh, is that the
It's the First Form grape grape drink, the grape smash.
Nice.
It's we're going to talk about this on the show today. I was
makes my Celsius look so weak.
Yeah, I was at First Form headquarters over the weekend.
Yeah.
I met the owner of First Form. I met Andy Frisell. I met Ed Milet. And even like sitting in the same room. I was at Andy's house. I was in his garage smoking cigars, standing in front of his $5 million Bugatti, and I couldn't get this drink while I was there. But I had one in my fridge, and I brought it with me.
And for those of you who don't know what First Form is or Andy Frisella, you're going to know because we're going to go over it.
Oh, you go and learn.
We're going to teach you today.
Going to be a great show. So here, what we were going, and I know I'm all over the place. Let's first.
This is what happens.
Take a breath, Adam. Take a breath. Let's do our normal intro. Let me crack open this drink. Can do you think I can like ASMR this with the microphone?
Oh, that was
did you get
good.
That was good.
Was a good one.
Good morning.
First Form needs to use that like in a commercial or something. That was good.
I love it. All right. So let's talk about where people can find more about the show, because I think this week we're going to have a lot of first-time listeners. I made a bunch of friends over the weekend, and they're following what we're doing, and they love celebrating our wins, and here we are. So if you want more information about the show, the type of stuff that we do, you've heard the intro. We're streaming live on Facebook every single week. Blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9, going live at 9:05, whether or not Adam is in the studio.
I messed that up last week.
You did.
I really tried.
You know what? You carried the show last week. You did a really great
did.
job with it, and we talked about this. But you messed up like my jingle.
I know, it's like the main thing, and
that's like somebody going to work at McDonald's and missing the "I'm loving it." It's
I know.
I really, really like it. No, that's not it. That's not the jingle.
If we could just get a sticker or something that says that, so I can have it around.
We'll put it on a Post-it note.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. So every Wednesday at 9 a.m., I'm blowing your minds every Wednesday at 9, going live at 9:05 on Facebook, Maverick Mindset Radio. The shows are still getting posted up to Spotify. We're still working on iTunes. I've been busy, man.
Yeah.
I've been busy.
You were gone.
I'm running an Inc. 5000 law firm. I'm too busy for the podcast.
Sorry, I got it.
We're live streaming on YouTube, and we got the Maverick merch out there still. MaverickMindsetRadio.com. Yep. What's the code? I don't have the
a Maverick 10.
Maverick 10 for 10% off. Love it. All right, so today's June 26th as we record this.
Yeah. So
what are we talking about today?
Well, first we're going to start with our quote, which leads us into the topic, which is the, summer reading list, but some other, I think you're going to hijack the show a little bit with some other
I got the grape
stuff.
drink. I'm ready.
Yes. But for the quote, which you weren't like a huge fan of, but
I don't like the quote.
I know, but I like it.
Well, I brought my own.
Oh, come on. You can't hijack the quotes too.
Mm-hmm. Watch me.
All right. Well, Adam, what's your quote?
No, read yours
Okay,
first.
I think
you put all the prep into this.
All right.
Let's go for it.
So I picked, because our topic is the summer reading list, that reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. And I picked this quote because I think a lot of people consider reading to just be a leisure activity or something that you're required to do if you're in school. But I think books, for an entrepreneur, or even if you're not, is something that's more essential, because I feel like it teaches us to grow. There's things in the book that can in books that change your mindset, and help you to learn things that some books that I've read have changed my life in general, or the way that I think about things or I do things. And we'll get into, you've had our team read books, which have prepared us for, what we're getting into and the type of work we're doing and who we're working for. So I think they're more essential than just something that's...
So now that I've had some time to reflect on that quote, it's not as bad as I originally thought.
Thank you.
But here's the problem. It's using like 12th grade words.
Yeah,
It's like those are a lot of big words in there, and it's reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary.
Yeah.
My quote was going to be readers are leaders. It rhymes. It's only 3 words. It's a handful of syllables.
So you used like 3rd grade.
But it's really interesting. So, and one of the things that we're going to talk about is my experience this past weekend at this event, and there were, in addition to Andy Fursell and Ed Milet, who were the hosts, there were also a couple of other speakers that came in.
Yeah.
So the guy who, Spencer Raskoff, who founded Hotwire and Zillow, like he was the founder of those companies, came in and spoke. And then the other guy whose name I'm going to draw a blank on, but I probably have it in my notes here, John Rossman, who built the third-party sales platform for Amazon.
Okay.
So like, remember back in the day when you wanted to sell something, you had to go on eBay to do it.
Yes.
And Amazon launched this. You can sell third-party products there now, and this guy helped build that. So anyway, John that used to work at Amazon wrote a book. He was speaking on some of the subjects from his book, and he had some pretty catchy like headlines for the lessons he was teaching, and the one was, "Don't consume empty calories," which I thought was really interesting. And I think part of the reason he chose that is literally we're in like a supplement company, and a bunch of the people in this group are in like really outstanding shape.
Yeah.
So I think the analogy held true. But what he was saying was like, don't go read garbage.
Yeah.
Don't go watch garbage. Like consume the stuff that's actually fulfilling and full of nutrients or knowledge or whatever you need to make the analogy work. So I thought that was really interesting, because sometimes I forget that people don't read as much as we do. And and I think one of the things that we were going to talk about early in the show is what we do in our business, our Inc. 5000 ranked business officially. One of the things that we do in our business is we give new employees books.
Yes.
And in fact, if I go and read a new book that I think would be helpful for the team, we'll usually hand
You
out
add it,
copies
because we've added books since I started. We didn't have all the...
Yep. So
are you going to add your book to the list now? New employees?
I think I will, not even because it's an ego thing, but I think it tells part of our story, and people need to know that story. I think our story is very important for our brand. I think our story is very important for why our clients work with us. Like, why, if you're running a fast growing business, don't you think it would help you to work with someone who's also run a fast growing business? Mm-hmm. I think so. We tend to talk about on this show, like, work with the experts that have been where you want to be.
Yeah.
That part of that story is really important. And I think also a lot of the book talks about the struggles that we've had and the struggles that other entrepreneurs have, that one, if you've experienced those things, you can see yourself in that and it resonates with you. Or two, if you've never run a business, you may not even be aware of how challenging it is, how difficult it is, how like what I'm willing to endure. And we talk about this with the man in the arena, with the blood and dust on my face, like what I'm willing to endure to achieve success. Most other people don't even realize what the struggles and sacrifices look like to achieve that success.
Well, you said somewhere in your memo, and I don't know who it was that had said it, who was speaking, but just stop like getting out of your head that every day is going to be easy. So it was something like that, that it's not like to get it out of your head that you're going to have easy days.
Yep.
Like it's just not
So
gonna happen.
let's talk about the books that we talk about at the office, because I think that's really important. So, and we talked about this. We did an episode on the hiring playbook previously, whatever episode number that was. Yep. And we talked about how intentional our recruiting process is, but we're also very intentional with our onboarding process. So before people start their first day, and you're more involved with this than I do, you actually know more about it. So actually, why don't you explain, like if we make an offer to someone, we have Diane starting July 8th. So what will we do before she sets foot in our office?
So Diane is going to get a welcome packet, but in that welcome packet, it's going to have her agenda for her first week. It's going to have our newsletter in there. We let her know what time to arrive at the office, kind of give her where to go, who's going to greet you, that type of thing. So she actually has
It's a care package.
It's a care package. And in that care package, we send her, prior to starting, the books that we send out to the new employees that I think now I have 4. I think that's 4.
Do we send all of them in the care package, or are some of them? I think we put some of them on people's desk for the first day when they show up.
Yeah, there's so our books we have the 4 agreements. We send that. Power of Ted, and I think we then Rich Dad Poor Dad, EOS.
So those are the 4. So some combination we send people in advance.
Definitely send 4 agreements and Power of Ted.
Okay.
And which are our 2. I feel like those are our mindset books.
Yep.
So I think that's why, or the purpose of sending those, so that they have an idea. At least for me, I knew once I read those, like, oh, so this is the type of place that I'm working for. These are the type of people I'm working for. You have an idea of what you're walking into.
We're trying to set the standard for what the culture is, and in our office, the 4 agreements, which 4 agreements is not on my summer reading list, but it's a very easy read.
Yeah, it is.
And one of my favorite things about the 4 agreements is if you buy the hard copy version and it's got like that sleeve over it. Yep. The 4 agreements are on the inside of the sleeve, so you could cheat and not even read the whole book. Yeah. Just flip open the cover, and there they are.
And they're self-explanatory.
And you get the point, right? Now the book, goes into more detail and tells the stories and things like that. But yeah, we are before you set foot in our office, after you've gone through our rigorous interviewing process, we're sending you 2 books that set the standard and what the expectation is for the culture.
Yes.
So the 4 agreements, I probably should have Googled it, but don't take anything personally.
Yep.
Always do your best. What are they?
Don't make assumptions.
Don't make assumptions.
And be impeccable with your word.
There you go. So those 4 things, we're letting people know before they set foot in our office, this is important to us. And it's an easy read. This is not
You can read it in like an hour.
Yeah, this is like a Saturday afternoon.
It's a
with
good
a glass of
book.
lemonade.
It's really good.
And then The Power of Ted is actually, I don't love that book.
Oh, see, I loved it.
I love the message.
I don't know if you have it.
And I didn't bring it. I brought, for those of you who are listening and not watching, I brought a library with me today.
Yes.
Because I wanted to have the books in front of me. But the Power of Ted, it is a parable, and I don't like parables.
I think I remember
But then the last section of the book is basically the textbook version of it, where they say, okay, here's how this all works, and we won't get into the details on that. And then when people show up at our office, we give them a copy of What the Heck is EOS?
Yep.
And Rich Dad Poor Dad. And Rich Dad Poor Dad is one that I recently added.
Yeah.
But these are both, I think, a little more tactical, a little more like fact-driven, less mindset type stuff.
Well, so Rich Dad Poor Dad is a book on understanding money, investing, learning how to make money off of money. And then the EOS is more of a operating systems process book to make your business better through those things.
So those who don't know, EOS is the entrepreneurial operating system, and it's a way to run your business. And our business is run on EOS for about 2 years, but there's meetings and there's weird terms that they use, and there's policies that they have, and there's systems that they have that are unfamiliar. And this is just an intro book. There's probably 7 or 8 books all about EOS that Gino Wickman, who invented it, wrote. But What the Heck is EOS is like the basic, hey, when you show up on your first day and they're talking about rocks and level 10 meetings, here's what that stuff means. When they're talking about visionary and integrator, here's what that stuff means. So it's very, very tactical on that. So we think it's very important in our office for people to read, and we encourage that. We don't like quiz them on this stuff.
Right.
But we see it in action every single day, and we know if you didn't read it. if you are taking things personally, which is in violation of one of the 4 agreements, and somebody maybe gently reminds you of that, we'll know whether you read the book or not.
Well,
we'll know whether you're living it.
I think too, if you're handed these books, so Power power of TED is a getting out of a victim mindset and moving into a more empowering mindset where you are in control and can change the outcome of your life. So I think these are really good books to understand that you've picked the right people for your team that understand your culture. Because if you're handed these books and they don't resonate with you, or you don't understand them, or you don't want to read them, or you're not even interested in reading them, you're probably not a good culture fit for our team.
Yep.
But
this is not the first time that we're testing for this.
Correct. Like we've built that up through the whole.
So one of my favorites is through our interview process. We have, for a lot of positions, a written quiz, and one of the I'm giving the secret away here, but that's okay. If you listen to our radio show, you're super cool and could probably work for us. So one of the things on our written quiz says, go and find a message to Garcia, read it, and then down below type why you think we made you do that. And it's a short story, and the whole idea is some military sergeant or whatever says, deliver this message to Garcia, and the guy doesn't ask questions and who's Garcia and why am I doing this and what's important and how do I do it. He just delivers the message to Garcia. Yeah. And that's really important for us as a small business because figure it out is one of our core values. Yep. And because of the size of our business, people wear multiple hats and have to fill multiple roles. And we can't take the time to sit and tell them what to do every moment of every day in order to get their job done. They've got to just deliver the message to Garcia. Yeah. So, yeah, great example. So let me turn the page.
Okay.
Let me transition. There it is. Let me transition into the summer reading list.
Yeah.
And my experience this past weekend. So I'll give the brief backstory. Almost 3 years ago, I joined what's called the Arete Syndicate, and it's a coaching group. There's I think over 1,500 members right now, and for a couple $100 a month, Andy Frisella and Ed Milet come on three Wednesday nights a month and teach a lesson. It's usually a half an hour or an hour, and then they do some Q&A. And these guys, if you don't know who they are elite. I mean, both of them have like they each have podcasts that are each in the top podcasts in the world. Andy is the founder of First Form and Supplement Superstore, and he is just this mega successful entrepreneur. Not that it's all about money and material things, but as an example, I was in his garage this last weekend. It must have been a $30 million car collection. And like, this is not like he drives them, and we're in his garage smoking cigars. Like, and it's not a garage. It's a beautiful custom built barn.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like a
yeah, but they have probably 300 employees. In I think it was 2020, they opened this facility in St. Louis that's in this industrial park, and it's this massive warehouse, and they have the capacity to ship 500 orders per hour. So if you go on their website and if you go on their website and buy this grape drink, they can ship 500 orders per hour, right? So he is one of the founders of the Arete Syndicate. And then Ed Milet is also an entrepreneur. He's a speaker. He's a best-selling author. And he works with athletes and professionals and coaches along with them. And he is in the ranks of the Tony Robbins of the world. Nice. Like famous, high-paid, motivational speakers. So these guys founded this group, and it's mostly for entrepreneurs, although there are some non-entrepreneurs in there. And in addition to that, twice a year they host these summits. And full disclosure, I've been in for 2.5 years. They've probably had 4 or 5 of these things. And until this one, I never had both the time and the money to be able to attend. Because the ticket price it's serious. Yeah. So this was the first one I could sign up for. And it was hosted at First Form headquarters. So we stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Louis for a few days. And we went to First Form both days, and then dinner the first night was at Andy's house. Dinner the second night was at Andy's farm, it was just so cool. The dude owns 2 tanks. One is parked at First Form. It's like murdered out black, like matte black with the logo on it. The other one is at his farm where he just goes and blows stuff up. Right?
Oh, like these are like working tanks. Like
yeah,
these are
it's not technically a tank. It had some other acronym, but you look at it and you go, that's a tank. And but he's a pretty polarizing figure too, because he talks about politics and he talks about where he believes America is right now and how it's not headed in the right direction. And I saw some of this, but not all of it. Someone at the event said he has 17 people on his like personal security staff. And I mean, there were definitely security guys around there. In fact, the podcasts he hosts with DJ's his security guy, like one of them.
Oh, okay.
So like there are threats on this guy.
Well, like you said, he's polarizing. He has these views on politics and the world, whatever. So then he brings 50 of us into his facility. So the event. Here's what was really cool about this event. This is a world-class organization. Yep.
They have grown like crazy. Mm-hmm. So when they built this building in 2020, they've built 2 more since then. Wow. That they're not fully occupied, but they're building towards it and they're anticipating that growth. And these things, all right. So one of the things I wanted to explain on the show today, and this is such a silly little thing, and it's so hard to articulate the full extent of it. But we are in a building where a couple hundred people work, and they have this huge gym. And if you ever watch in the building, okay. In fact, there's one in each building. Okay. But because it's 2 different companies, the gyms match the branding and the colors, so all the weights have the company logo on it. So in the First Form building, there's Supplement Superstore, but in the First Form building, all of the weights have the First Form logo on them. And if you walk in, the logos are all forward facing and they're all upright. Meaning if you put a weight back. Like, first of all, when you go to the gym, people don't put weights back, but you have to put it back and line it up. Otherwise, you lose your gym privileges.
Oh, no.
And the chairs, I sent this to KP, our receptionist, who sort of maintains our conference room. The chairs are lined up around the conference tables. And there's, 5 conference rooms that are glass walled in this building. And not only were the chairs pushed in, but someone would go on the bottom of the chair where the casters are and line all of them up all the way around the table.
Good Lord.
So here's a group of really, it's probably 85% dudes, right? Mm-hmm. And kind of macho, kind of alpha, right? Yep. I've never seen this. This is going to sound weird, but I have to say this to grab people's interest. I have never seen anything like the following in a men's restroom.
Oh, no.
Finish your business, wash your hands, grab the paper towels and dry your hands, and then they would wipe off the countertop in a public restroom with the paper towels to get the water drops off of it. I have never seen a single person do that. But by the end of
the people that work there.
No, you finish washing your own hands and then you as a good human being wipe off the counter. And it's such a stupid little thing, but by the end of the weekend, every single one of us was doing it.
Yeah.
So you talk. I just bought a hat. I think it's going to show up today from First Form. That's like set the standard. That is the standard in this facility, and that's it. It sounds like such a stupid little thing, but the point is, what they're building, that culture is part of it.
Yeah.
So we've got a culture at our office, and we emphasize it a little bit, but these guys take it to an absolute extreme. Level. So I want to give you an example. Bringing it back to the books. There was you walk in the entrance, and there's a Porsche 911, I think it's a GT3 RS or GT3, GT3R, whatever, race car that First Form has sponsored that ran, probably Le Mans or some big race like that. So they park it there because it looks really cool. Yeah. Next room, there's a Lamborghini that they sponsored, and it's this like bright blue color.
It's in the building.
In the building,
yeah.
And
why not?
So they've got these conference rooms that have these glass walls so you can look in, and they're beautiful, they're impeccable, they're maintained. It looks like nobody's ever used it except people use it all the time. So they had a room with bookshelves in it, and I took a picture of it because in there is the books that they give to their new employees.
Okay.
And there must have been 20 of them, and it's a lot of similar stuff to what we read. There was some other books that aren't really on our list, and I'm not sure they would necessarily make our list because our culture is a little bit different. But you could tell how important it was to them for their team to understand this. And here's what blew my mind is we are in their workplace and we're getting a tour and we're a little disruptive and we're all a little excited and we're all taking, like, imagine somebody walking by your cubicle. You don't have a cubicle, but imagine this. Imagine somebody walking by your cubicle and taking pictures of just how cool the place is, right? And they would like stop their job and introduce themselves to us and say how happy they were that we were there. Like they were one of their core values is to like build positive, fun relationships. And you could tell the people that worked there lived that.
Yeah.
Like they cared about, I'm a customer that may spend, I don't know, a few $100 a year with them, maybe more. Seems like every order I place is $250 because that's what you need for the free t-shirt. But the point is, like, we're not, like, these aren't hugely valuable relationships necessarily on a transactional basis,
right.
but they understand the value of forming a relationship and maintaining a human relationship with people. So it was really interesting to see, because they had, 50 copies of each of these books sitting on the bookshelf that they give out. So it really got me thinking about this episode. It got me thinking about the books that we give out. And it made me think about the importance of reading. And Andy and Ed both talk about how much they read. Yeah. And they're both best-selling authors. And the lessons that they these are brilliant dudes, and these are successful dudes, but very little, and I think they would both admit this, very little of what they built is their own original, creative, brilliant idea. A lot of what they've created is taking other people's creative, brilliant ideas and combining them and processing them and doing it in their own way. So you hear Andy talk a lot about core values, and their core values are all over the building. You walk in the front door, they're on a huge sign. You walk in the warehouse, like literally every room. We were in an auditorium, and the whole surrounding, like top of the wall all the way around, had all of the core values spelled out on it. Well, Andy gets that from a guy named Jim Collins. Jim Collins is I think he was a Stanford business professor, and he's written a handful of books, and Jim has documented what makes successful, enduring companies successful and enduring, and one of those things is core values. Yeah. Well, so that's what brought me back to the summer reading list. Is I was thinking a lot about culture and core values at this event, because I'm seeing firsthand the impact that it can have on a business. And it made me realize, I think we do a great job with it, and we could do so much more. Like, I am so motivated to take what makes us special and different and successful and 10x that, because I just saw what it can mean for another business. Like, this is a business that a couple guys started, didn't make any money. It was Andy and his brother that didn't make any money for the first 10 or 15 years, and now here they are, like, completely changing the world. And the guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
With just the supplements and is that what it started with? Which, again, how many are out there? Like, that's a hard business to get into, because there's a lot of competition. So,
here's you hear me talk about chess and checkers.
Yes.
Here's the checkers play. Supplement Superstore is probably, depending on the company, the first or second or third largest buyer of other companies' supplements. So you got GNC, you got Vitamin Shop, and then Supplement Superstore is up there. So they see all the data. They know what sells. They know how successful all of the other companies are, and they know what the popular products are. And then they go in their other building and manufacture competing products to that. That's slick. I don't think he gets enough credit for that, although they probably don't want to talk about it much because it'll throw us. But there's another example. Rolex. Rolex now has a relationship with Bucherer, which is a large watch retail store.
Okay.
Well, so now they know what's selling in other companies' watches, right? Like, you don't know that, and if you've been to Vegas or New York City or Chicago, you always see a Bucherer store there. Although I think they may have changed the name of it. But the point is, they're a massive high-end watch retailer that Rolex now has access to all of their data. Like, that's pretty slick. All right, so let's talk about the summer reading list, because it's summer.
Yes.
And we should be reading.
Yeah.
And if you're on 75 Hard, you're reading 10 pages a day, and you're complaining about how difficult that is.
That's what failed me.
That's right.
I didn't read.
On what day?
Oh gosh.
60 something.
Yeah, I was so close, and I was on vacation, and I didn't read.
I think for those who don't know, and we're going to talk about it on almost every episode, but 75 Hard, 2 workouts per day.
Yep.
One of them has to be outdoors, both 45 minutes, 10 pages of reading, take a progress picture, follow a diet, no alcohol. Am I missing something? It's funny. No. I've done this so many times.
No, and the reading part's the easiest part, because you have to take a progress picture at the beginning.
Picture. Yep. Yeah. So do this every day for 75 days.
Yes.
And if you miss
and a diet, you have to keep on some type of diet.
Follow a diet. Yep.
Yep.
And the 10 pages a day is tough, because if you don't make the time for it,
or if you're not a reader.
Yep. Here's what blew my mind. We just got Royce's summer reading list for he's going into 8th grade. And Jackie ordered the books because she wants to read them with him. which I think is cute. And the one book, he's got to read 40 pages a day over the summer.
That's a lot.
I think
that's
it's
a lot
awesome.
for a kid, but that's a lot.
Is it though? Is it though?
know.
I mean, if he's reading something,
If it's good, it's...
if I had the space, I'd read 100 pages a day. And I'd read less and I'd really study it and learn. I mean, there's some times where you got to read the paragraph 3 times to really understand it and highlight it and everything and mark it up. And what we've talked about reading the same book over and over and over again and what that means. So yeah, I'm really on the summer reading kick because I'm thinking the amount of time that he's going to have to spend to get to 40 minutes a day. I should be that committed to learning.
Yeah.
Like there's other people that take their brilliance and wisdom and experience and expertise and knowledge and put it down on paper. And we should be out tearing this stuff up. So I came up with a list.
Okay.
I came up with a summer reading list. This is your assignment. This is everybody's assignment. Listen, there's tons of great books out there. But people know that I'm a reader. People know that we've got some level of successful business and people, you finish a book and you're looking for a book recommendation. There is no fiction on this list. Like this is not a go pour a margarita. This is not empty calories, right?
Yes.
This is helpful, fulfilling, knowledge-driving stuff that I've put together here. And some of these are timely, some of these are timeless. But I thought, if somebody asked me, hey, what are the next 5 books I should read? I want to finish something between now and when my kids go back to school. I'd pick these 5 books. And you're going to have to, it's probably going to take more than 10 pages a day to get through these things. But what you will learn from a first reading of each of these books will completely transform your life and your business. So, and I brought some of them in with me today. So we're going to go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready for the summer reading list?
If everybody had their journal.
Oh man, that's right. Maverick merch, Maverick Mindset Radio. You could be looking at your notebook just like we are right now and taking notes on this stuff. And in fact, I think that's something that's really important is I think when people hear about reading 10 pages a day or Royce hears about reading 40 pages a day, the focus is on completing the thing and checking the box. That's not what this is about. This is about actually consuming and learning this stuff. This isn't about doing enough to pass the test in school. This is how can you extract every ounce of value out of this thing and implement it into your life. And this is what I don't understand about the people that are like, I read 52 books a year. Yeah. What did you get out of that?
Yeah.
Like it's impressive and it's an accomplishment and I'm glad that you have the time and space to do that. But what if you read the same book 52 times?
Good point.
I personally think if it's the right book, you would actually get a lot more out of it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't look as cool. People think you're a little weird, but whatever. Like that's not what we're about
on this show.
But
I think each time you reread something, you get something different from it. You read it the first time, and you read it a second time, you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
That's book number 2. All right, so number 1, and I cheated on this list because, hey, Maverick Mindset. my first suggested book for summer reading is 2 books.
Okay.
Because they kind of go together. And this is a name that we've mentioned a couple times on this show. But I am really enjoying Alex Hormozi's books. The first one is called $100 Million Offers. The second one is called $100 Million Leads. These are obnoxiously cheap. And when you read the books, you'll understand why. The first one, $100 Million Offers, is all about structuring, well, I'll just read it. How to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. How do you stack an offer in your business for what you sell and what you offer that people feel stupid saying no? And we work on this in Pennywise.
Yeah.
We are giving away free money in Pennywise tax strategies.
Yes.
You pay us, we reduce your taxes, and if we can't reduce your taxes, you don't pay us for the work.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but we've already told you.
but we're still ineffective at it.
Very value information. Yeah.
There are still people who have problems understanding that. Like, oh, but it's expensive. Yeah, but did you hear the part where we'll save you that money? So would you rather pay us or the IRS? And trust me, there's a differential between the two numbers. So $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads is really good. I'm working on the Leads book right now because that's actually, with Pennywise being less than a year old, we're working on growing our leads. We're working on growing our email list. We're working on running ads and capturing people's contact information. So these books take a lot of other really smart people stuff. So Alex takes a lot of stuff from Russell Brunson, from ClickFunnels, and from Dan Kennedy, who's the direct response marketing legend, and writes it at a 3rd grade level. and there are like stick figure drawings in here.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
it's a really easy to read book. And it's funny, I was sitting on the plane reading $100 Million Leads heading to St. Louis last week, and I'm sitting in first class, and I imagine people looking at me reading this book with stick figure drawings in it, right? Like and I know the funny thing is, I know that there are people in first class who know exactly the book that I'm reading because they're successful entrepreneurs, and Alex had probably one of the most successful book launches of all time a couple months ago with the Leads book. But this is volume 1, volume 2. He's going to come out with more of them, but he takes very complex, difficult concepts around marketing and simplifies them in a massive way. He's a very systematic thinker. So point A, point B, point C, or point 1, 2, 3, and each of those has 3 subpoints under it. Like, he breaks it down in an outlined fashion that is really easy for most people to understand. But here's a reason why reading 10 pages a day is so difficult on something like this. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
So if you're going to read $100 million offers and you're going to structure an offer for your business, sit there with a pen in your hand and take notes and mark it up. And in fact, you'll probably need to read the book a second time. So you get the big picture the first time through, and then the second time through, you say, all right, here's how I can make this work in my business. So Maverick Mindset Radio, summer reading list. Suggestion number 1, $100 million offers and $100 million leads from Alex Hormozi. If I was more sophisticated, I would have found a way to get some sort of Amazon affiliate link up for those books. But whatever, go and buy them. In fact, I think I've got 3 copies of $100 Million Leads, because I think I have 1 at my house and I think I have 2 at the office because I share them with other people. And we're working on hiring a marketing director right now. I will probably send her both of these books before she starts. So if you need help with marketing, if you don't have enough leads, if you don't have enough customers and clients, spend some time reading through this book. And if you're like me, you're probably a quick start and want to jump in and go, read chapter 1, implement. Don't do that.
Right.
Get through the whole book, build the whole thing out, and then go through it. So summer reading list, suggestion number 1, Alex Hormozi, $100 million offers, $100 million leads. You ready for number 2?
I'm ready.
Okay. This is the book that most self-made successful people will recommend. So there's nothing new about this. There's nothing, I haven't recreated the wheel with this. The book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's the Bible, it's the gospel on having that mindset, on accomplishing your goals. So this is a book that, it's funny because Andy was just talking about this too. I read this book once a year, either on 75 hard or around my birthday in December. And every single time I read it, and it's funny because you can see this is kind of dog-eared. I got bookmarks in here. I got pages marked up. If you've read, this has got the secret. This is the secret to riches and secret to success spelled out in here. The first time I read it, I didn't understand the appeal. Like, why does everybody read? Like, what is so great about this book?
Right.
It's the stories were kind of lame and the lessons were hidden in there. And then I read it again and said, oh, I got it. I got it.
So it's one of those you need to read it more than once.
Yep, absolutely. Once a year. I think the really successful people out there that are creating really great things have read this book multiple times and would recommend it. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's item number 2 on your summer reading list. I'm actually reading another Napoleon Hill book right now. But what Hill did is he got funded by, I think it was Andrew Carnegie, and he went out and interviewed like the most successful people in the world and tried to digest and reproduce what made them so successful.
Nice.
And that's what's in the book. There's whatever, 17 chapters or something, and 16 chapters. That was pretty close. And he basically said, here are the things that make people successful. Yeah. And he went and published the book. And I don't know how long ago it was, but 100 years. Is there an original copyright on here? That's a thing I should know. I know that Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels bought like a first edition of this book and spent like $1 million on it.
Wow.
So, pretty wild. Okay, so that's summer reading. Item number 2, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Not an easy read, unlike Hormozi.
Okay.
And in fact, may not even be a read that you understand the first time through it. But I mean, if you read it and you listen to this show, you'll notice that we're using a lot of stuff in there. We talk about having definiteness of purpose. We talk about goal setting. We talk about having a clear vision and making the plan and adjusting the plan. Like, that's all Think and Grow Rich stuff. All right, item number 3. I had to do it.
I
had
was
to go
waiting
there.
for it.
And I wasn't going to, and I'll tell you what changed my mind. Item number 3, summer reading list. Everything Your Kids Wish You Knew About Owning a Business by Adam Williams, Amazon bestselling author.
I have that book.
I wasn't going to say it. I thought it was going to be ego, but there's 2 reasons that I put it on here. One, it is an easy read. Mm-hmm. It's 100 pages. This is pour a glass of lemonade, sit by your pool or on the beach or on your boat or whatever in your windowless basement. I don't care. Quick and easy read. So that was part 1. This is a book that you could take on vacation with you.
Yeah.
Like if you travel, Jackie does this. She packs 10 books and reads half of one of them.
Yeah.
Well, this is a nice one that take it with you. And gosh, if you get through it, go back and read through it again. But very packable, easy to take with you, available on Amazon. Here's the other reason I decided to do it, though. The reviews that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like people, I'm not even you know how hard it is to get reviews in our business?
Yes.
People are leaving Amazon reviews without me even making the ask.
Nice.
So we got all these 5-star reviews. People are sending me messages about how great it is. I should be asking those people to leave reviews. But like what I set out to accomplish, I actually did with the book. So trying to teach lessons about entrepreneurship, trying to make the next generation better off, and people love it. And Ed Milet, guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He bought an island in Maine that he's like refinishing. Hope Island, it's called. One of these events in the future may be there. So I was talking to him. Was it Thursday night at dinner? And I said, hey, he just did a huge book launch, right? So, and he tells the stories. I may miss the statistics, but his publisher was going to publish, I don't know, 50,000 copies of the book, and he goes, no, I need 250,000.
Nice.
And like he had to twist their arm to get them to do 100,000 copies of a book. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of a book, right?
Yeah.
And he launched this thing and sold out like immediately, right? So I said, hey, I just launched a book. Can I get some advice? And I don't want anybody to get sued, but he named a national television show. He's like, don't go on that show. You won't sell any books. I'm like, all right, it shouldn't be a problem for me. But
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah, but so he said, well, he's a super nice guy. And there was a directory of everybody that was attending this event, 50 some people. And super nice guy, like remembered people's names and faces, even though he had never met them. He goes, what's the title of the book? And I said, Everything Your Kids Wish You Knew About Owning a Business. And he goes, oh, dude, that's so good.
Nice.
I was like, well, the book is good too, but the title had to be attractive. And he was pumped up about it, and actually made some connections for me to try and promote this a little bit more.
Very cool.
And one of the things that he then his juices started flowing, right? Because he's got kids.
Yep.
And he talks a lot about his relationship with his dad and building his business, which his dad was not as much of an entrepreneur, and like what Ed wants his kids to do. And like I said, one of the speakers at the event was Spencer Raskoff, who started Hotwire and Zillow, like massive companies, right? And turns out that Spencer's dad was a super successful entrepreneur. Like, he signed, I want to say it was the Rolling Stones. Like he was like their marketing guy for years, and turned that into a bunch of other stuff. So you hear now about artists who like sell the rights to their music or whatever, and Taylor Swift goes through all this. The first person to do that was David Bowie, and that was Spencer's dad's idea. Like he created that concept. And there's 7 other things this guy did, so massively successful. So then I'm talking to Ed, and I'm like, what if the next version of my book, I go out and interview 2nd or 3rd generation entrepreneurs who have gone and done the thing bigger and better and faster and more successfully than their parents did. And Ed's like, I'd be in that book. I'm like, all right.
Good.
Now, I don't believe that that's a contractual obligation on his part at this point, but he was at least showing some enthusiasm, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, item number 3, summer reading list, everything your kids wish you knew about owning a business. All right, number 4, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm cheating on this one again. Anything by Jim Collins.
Okay.
So he has written Built to Last. He has written Good to Great. I haven't read a bunch of his other ones. I'm looking at the list right now. Turning the Flywheel, Great by Choice, Good to Great in the Social Sectors, and How the Mighty Fall. I haven't read any of those. But my favorite one is a newer one. It's called B 2.0, Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0. This is one of the best books I've ever read. It takes a lot of the concepts from the other books and really spells it out. And it talks about, growing that successful business, going beyond entrepreneurship. I talk about going from being self-employed to having a small business. Right. Jim's talking about what's the next level after that. Yep.
Okay.
Great lessons on core values, great lessons on culture, great lessons on vision. It's an inspiring read, which isn't always true about business books. But what I really like about Jim is he's maybe he hasn't done as much of this on his own, but he's gone out and studied it and learned about it and has learned enough to say, all right, here's what makes other companies successful. So I like B 2.0 from Jim Collins. Really good book, really good author. Again, kind of dense. Like it's something that's worth reading thoroughly or slowly or repeatedly. But Good to Great and Built to Last have both been really good. Again, talking about, I think what I like about Jim is he wrote, I don't remember which one came first. I think it was Good to Great came first. And he studied these great companies. And like one of his students said something like, well, yeah, those are enduring 100-year-old companies, but I don't want to build that. I just want to build a really great company. And Jim's like, oh, that's a good point. Maybe I should just write about that. So that was the next book that came out. So Jim Collins, highly recommended, academic, but great book. And then number 5 on the list. This is one, same deal. I had to read it 3 or 4 times to get it. I think I was just too young the first time I read it. I was probably in college and didn't have I guess I had a business, but didn't really get it. And then I read it again after I started my career, but it didn't make sense because I didn't, like, it was like me and one employer, me and 2 employees. So I didn't really have a business at that point. And then after, I don't know, 9 more years of getting punched in the face by my business, it finally resonated. So book number 5 is The E-Myth. Oh. And this one hits close to home for me because the whole idea is, it's interesting because there's E-Myth for different professions, like lawyers and different businesses and stuff like that. But Michael Gerber wrote the book, and the last time I read it, I think it was on audiobook, and he tells this story of an example of someone who loves making pies and makes really great pies. Everybody says, you should start a business making pies. So she gets really excited and builds it and is successful and makes great pies, and then gets to the point where she gets in at 6 o'clock in the morning and leaves at 6 o'clock at night and deals with all the stuff in between, and turns out she hates making pies now. Yeah. So she took the thing that she loved, and this is so true for so many business owners, and people get really offended because I call them out on this and I say, don't start a business just because you love doing the thing. Yes. And they're like, oh, so I should go and do something that I hate. That's not what I said. Nope. That's not what I said. What I said was, just because you love something doesn't mean you should turn it into a business, because that is a great way to ruin that thing. Yes. So the E-Myth is the entrepreneurial myth. It's why what does he say? Why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it. So it's all about building processes and systems and procedures and growing a team so that you can do the stuff that you love. Well, that sounds a lot like what we talk about on the show. Build a business that serves you. Build a business that allows you to do the things that you like to do and that you're really good at. So yeah, E-Myth is a good one. It's a relatively older book, but
probably a good one for people that are thinking about starting a business or in that process of it. And it reminds me a lot of when we had Jordan and Brian on last week, and they were saying, people come in that initial stage and they're like, I'm ready to do this, I want to do it, but they're like, did you think about
I make really great salsa, and my mom loves my salsa, so I'm going to go have $100 million business. No, you're not.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
No, you're not. So I think E-Myth, it is a good one to read when you're thinking about starting, because most books on starting a business, we've talked about this is part of my spiel. Most books about starting a business, chapter 1 says get a good accountant, get a good lawyer. Chapter 2, sometimes these are in a different order. Chapter 2 always says make sure you're the type of person that actually wants to be an entrepreneur, because it's really, 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 really hard. Yeah. And this is a good book to read before you launch, because it will open your eyes to the reality of the challenges that you'll face, and you can make an informed decision about whether it's what you want to do, or you can at least move forward with more confidence because you've got the awareness of what this is really going to be like. Yeah. So that's book number 5. So to recap the summer reading list, June 26, 2024, Maverick Mindset Radio. Probably going to add to this. We'll do a fall reading list.
I was going to say, or like a winter.
Well, I'm going to do an entire book list at some point. That's thematic. So if you need vision stuff, go with Jim Collins. Yeah. If you need financial stuff, go with Profit First. If you need whatever, I don't want to make the whole list up now. But the idea is, I would love to produce a longer list, talk about it on a show, and map out. Like I do a lot of reading. I have a lot of books. And I can share a lot of that, and then people can make, like, there are some books that come out. This drives me crazy when you say you have a problem and somebody says, "Oh, go read blah blah blah." I don't have time for that. Like, maybe you could just tell me what's in blah blah blah, and I can go do that. So one of the ones is there's two, and they might be by the same author. They might be Dan Sullivan books, but one is 10x is easier than 2x, and the other one is The Gap and the Gain. And the whole idea behind 10x is easier than 2x is it really is. Like if your vision is that much bigger and your goals are that much greater, your options actually become more limited about what to do. So life is simpler. And when you have the bigger bit. So that's the, like, I haven't read that book, but I get it. And then the other one is The Gap and the Gain, where it's don't focus on the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Spend some time focusing on where you were and how far you've come. And you'll like that. It's eye-opening of like, oh wow, I really have made a lot of progress here. So those are books that you don't really need to read to get. But to recap the summer reading list, Maverick Mindset Radio, Alex Hormozy, $100 million leads, $100 million offers. That's volume 1, volume 2, he says. Number 2, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Number 3, my book, Everything Your Kids Wish You Knew About Owning a Business. Number 4, Anything by Jim Collins. I'm recommending B 2.0, but Good to Great and Built to Last are both fantastic. And number 5 is The E-Myth. So there is your summer reading list. We didn't spend as much time talking about my experience with the Arte Syndicate as I wanted to, but we're going to get there. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I still haven't fully digested it. But one thing that we're doing is we are going to, I've asked our marketing assistant to design some posters with our core values on them to hang them up around the office. The other thing I really liked is when you walk in the main entrance of First Form, their sign company must make millions of dollars off of these guys. But they had a big sign on one of the walls. It's the first thing you see when you turn the corner into the building. And it's the lyrics from Smokey and the Bandit, like the song from Smokey and the Bandit of "We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. We're going to do what they say can't be done." Like, man, my oppositional defiant disorder, like if somebody tells me I can't do something, so we're going to put that in the employee entrance in our building. When you walk in the hallway across from the mailboxes, we're putting that on the wall there. Because I want to walk in every day and say, we got a long way to go and a short time to get there, and we're going to do what they say can't be done. Because I've had that in my business. You've heard the story. What do you remember what the other attorney told me when I left my prior office and moved into my own building? Do you remember what he told me?
I'll tell you, like, not to do it or to...
That's a very nice way of saying it. Yeah. He said I was going to die on the vine.
Yes.
And he said I was going the way of the dodo. The dodo. I said, no, I'm going to get on the Inc. 5000 list. And I did.
So, by the way...
I'm going to kick the office door down when I get back today. I'm so fired up and ready to work on this stuff. But that, you know what it is? You know what the other part of it is I got really inspired this weekend I'm sitting at dinner casually, they get random seats at these dinners, and like the guy next to me has $100 million business. Yeah. I can't even fathom what a business like that looks like. Few hundred employees, the team, the irony was he's like, tell me more about this tax strategy thing that you do.
Right.
Because I have my dad's account, and that person doesn't do any of this stuff. So
seriously, people even at that level, they need.
Yeah, I met a handful of people, $20 million businesses that they don't have the tax strategy in place, and they're frustrated because they know the stuff is out there. And their accountant says, no, you can't do it, or they have to bring the ideas to their accountant. Their accountant doesn't.
I hear that every day.
So I'm telling these guys with 8 and 9 figure businesses, that's why we launched this business, because most accountants don't do that for whatever reason. I don't mean to create ill will, but the reality of that profession is they aren't doing that. And I tell these guys, that's why we started this business. I got 2 purposes. I want to do for entrepreneurs what their current service providers aren't doing for them, and I want to defund the IRS. Yeah. And these guys with 8 and 9 figure businesses are saying, you are going to kill it. Like that is a mission that I can buy into. So I think that's really cool. So, all right, did we have action items from today?
Well, I think it's
pick up a book.
Pick up a book.
Yeah. Pick up a book and read it.
Yeah.
In fact,
start your summer reading list.
I hope we end up hiring this girl. Otherwise, I'm going to feel really bad. But I had a good interview a couple days ago for our marketing director position, and she got fired up because it's if she makes it to interviewing with me, it's that of the 500 applications, she was one of 5 interviews. She bought my book and sent me an email, so
nice.
it'll be All right. Great show today. Summer reading list. I believe in you.